A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the NUS Master of Science in Business Analytics Information session. My name is Benjamin, and I will be your host for today. First and foremost, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us on a Tuesday evening. We trust that you had a great start to the week so far, and we certainly hope that after tonight's session, your week will be even better. Because if you are someone looking to further your interests, studies, or career in the business or data analytics field, then you are definitely at the right place. The right place being the NUS Business Analytics Center, along with its flagship MSBA program. And speaking about the Business Analytics Center, tonight I am incredibly honored to be joined by Professor Kwek Kaw Ping, Deputy Director of the NUS BAC itself, a visiting senior fellow at the NUS Business School. Prof. Kwek holds a Bachelor of Mechanical Engineering from NUS and received his MBA from the University of Warwick. Throughout the course of his storied professional and academic career, he has held numerous leadership positions in technical consulting, marketing, and sales, while displaying an expertise in areas such as cognitive computing in assistive technologies and unstructured data analysis. For today's session, we will have the privilege to hear from Prof. Kwek as he shares more about the top-ranked Business Analytics Master's Program in Asia, as well as a better perspective on the industry. But before I hand the controls over, I would just like to remind the audience to please post any questions that you might have in the Q&A section below, and we will then address them accordingly after the presentation. So with that said, please allow me to begin the session by handing the time over to Prof. Kwek. Professor, please.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Benjamin. Let me share my screen. What I'd like to do is to take you through some of the key points of our program, something that I'm very, very happy to share, very close to my heart. Benjamin introduced me early on. I just want to maybe put it simply. Before I joined the university, I actually implement AI system for the commercial companies. So that's what I did before I came to the university. Now, what I'm going to take you through is very simple. I will cover some of the key points of this program, and then hopefully that you will be able to ask question that you want to ask later on if there's anything that is not clear. Let me very quickly just maybe give you a quick top sheet of what this program is all about. If you were to summarize our program, what are the differentiators? Basically, there are three of them. One is multidisciplinary. What it means is our program is put together by two schools, School of Business as well as a School of Computing. You shouldn't take this lightly, because if you were to look at the programs in the industry, it's something that you don't find very, very common. What we've done is to take the strength of these two schools. One is very, very technical, hard science, and another basically looking at how business problem can be addressed. Now, once you enroll to our program, what basically happened to you will be a alumni of two schools. Imagine alumni of two high-ranking schools in this part of the world. And the objective of our course is actually very wide. We try to produce a spectrum. At one end, we want to have a practitioner of data science, and the other end, we would like to see business leaders who are very data savvy. So you can imagine this is a spectrum. In order to do that, you cannot achieve if you don't have a multidisciplinary approach. The other very, very important about our program is our industrial collaboration. Now, over the years, we have working with many, many companies. We call them partner companies. There's more than 100 of them by now. These partner companies are basically the companies that offer internship to our students. Later on, I'll talk a little bit more on what our internship is and what is the what are the differences of our internship program. And many of these partner companies not only offer the internship to our students, actually they are also employers of our students. So many of alumni actually work for this partner companies. And the other key point is our program has been around for a while. We started in 2013, and when we first formed, apart from the two schools that I mentioned earlier on, we also engaged a company, IBM, in particular IBM Research Lab, to be a partner in start up this program. That kind of set us off on a path to become a very practical oriented. So if you were to take away from my presentation, you should know that our program is a program which is multidisciplinary. It has a lot of collaboration with the industry, and it is a very practical oriented program. Okay. Of course, the icing on the cake is our program is rated as #1 among the Asian-based business analytics program all over the world. If you compare with other universities, we are the top 15 in the world. So it's a university that when you want to pick a program, you want to associate with. Let's take a look at what kind of students body that we have. As I mentioned, this program has been around for a while. It's about 8 years, going to 9th years. We see a constant trend of increasing application. And these applications from all over the world, not just from the regional countries here. We begin to see countries like South America, Eastern Europe, students from these countries to join us. What it means is our alumni community is getting richer and richer. So if you are part of this community, you're actually in the midst of many background, many nationalities, and among our students, this year we have about 130 some students. And out of the 130 some students, about 70% are from overseas, and the other 30% from the Singapore base, either Singaporean or Singapore PR. Okay, and it's a good mix of male and female. It's not by design, by chance. Over the years, we have about 50% male and 50% female. Right? So it's a very good mix of community that, again, is good for you to associate with. Now, how do we prepare our student? Our curriculum has evolved. In fact, the reason I brought up the fact that we are probably one of the older program in the industry, it gives us a runway for us to fine-tune our curriculum. So what you see here is not a static kind of offerings. It's a set of offerings that being evolved, and this evolution is to address to what is really needed in industry. Remember the word I say early on. This program is practical oriented. For us to be practical oriented, we have to really keep our fingers on the pulse of the industry. Therefore, this curriculum that you see here is actually adjusted over the years. Now, what we do is we put the student through a 5 modules kind of a basic training. That's where you learn all the basic skills that you required for you to be a practitioner of data science. Okay. And then when it comes to the semester 2, we have this opportunity opens up to the student to zero into the industry that they want to focus on. Industry, for example, marketing, e-commerce, that's one. Financial, fintech, that's another one. Healthcare, and so on. And of course, if you are into supply chain, you are into IoT, you can always stay with big data. And of course, another module another set of module that we put together is to prepare students who want to become PhD student after the time that they spend with us. So there are varieties that you can pick from our modules. Now, I mentioned about the Capstone project internship. This is one of the modules that make us really practical oriented. The ultimate aim of the program is to train the student enough that they can actually do a project, a data science project, all by themselves from beginning to end. And Capstone project module is that module. But it's more than that. It's a process. The project is the end of this process. But before that, there are more than that. I will go through some of these key points of the process. So ultimately, the student that graduate from our program will have to do the project, the Capstone project, and that's where they really put the test and show that he or she can really do a project all by himself or herself from beginning to end. Okay. We don't put you at that stage right away. Of course, the module that I mentioned before, the essential modules and the vertical modules are the modules that we put in place to prepare you for that. I mentioned about the collaboration. This again is one of the very, very important point or a very important differentiator of our program. I mentioned that we have 100 over industrial partners that we work with, and I talked about the internship earlier on. Now, working with them over the years, and more are coming in, by the way. So this 100 partner companies is not a static number again. It will evolve. Okay. The reason we want to do that is because we want to really, really keep our fingers on the pulse of the industry. So whatever is required in the industry, if there's a shift in the focus of the applying of data science in solving business problem, we get to know about it. Now, we have rolled under the Capstone project module a weekly seminar that I will go into a little bit more later on. This seminar is again a avenue for us to connect this 100 over industrial partners that we have with our students. Let me explain what I meant by that. Every week, there will be 1 to 2, sometimes 3 companies come in to meet up with our students. Before the COVID-19, we have all this done in the physical environment. Now, the reason we want to do that is because, like I mentioned, we want to connect our student with all these key practitioners in the industry. And many of these people from the company that we invite, they are actually the future employers of our students. This weekly seminar, apart from having the company talk about their company, how they deploy data science in solving business problems, there's also a opportunity for the student to make themselves known to all these key players or key executives from the companies. So this connection will be done throughout the whole year. But by the time the student is ready to do the Capstone project, first of all, they know who are the companies. They know how the companies deploy the data science and solving business problem. And the student can have in their mind some clear ideas as what kind of projects that they want to go for, what kind of companies that they want to apply to do the Capstone project, to do the internship. That is in line with their future professional aspiration. So again, this is part of the journey which I mentioned. It makes our program practical. Now, we also put our student data science skill to test. Every year, at least once, we will organize our version of hackathon. We call it Innovation Challenge. It's different from the normal hackathon that you see out in the industry, whereby the participants will lock into a room for maybe 24 hours, 72 hours to come up with a solution to a problem or business problem. Now, our hackathon is done normally about one month, 1.5 months, sometimes 2 months. We do it that way because we want to mimic a real business environment for our students to solve their business problems. Our innovation challenge is organized in such a way that normally it's organized in semester 2. That's for a reason. Because we want the student to form teams. Now the student can form teams consist of up to 4 up to 6 maximum number of students. We do it in second semester is because in first semester when new student comes in, they kind of know each other, get to know each other, and then one of the things that we wanted to do is make use of that runway to get to know each other, to understand each other's strength and weakness, right? So when it comes to semester 2, when these challenges is been offered, the students can form their teams based on how they complement each other. And this is kind of mimic what real environment that they go into when they start working, because when they work in a company, the key thing is how you can find people who will complement your skill set and form a project team to get problem solved. So again, this is one way of training our students to identify people that they can work with, and they can have a team that is a sum larger than the sum of all individual. The other key point about this competition is we don't organize it for our students alone. We open up to all the schools within NUS. So our students actually competing with other schools in NUS, not just from our program. So there's a way for them to really gauge how well they compare with the other teams. I'm happy to say that over the years, our teams always emerge one of the top teams. Okay, so this is another opportunity that we create for a student to really sharpen their skill. Now, apart from our own organized hackathon, we also organize our students to take part in external hackathon. Some of this is actually done overseas. For example, the Chengdu 80, this is done in China, and our students competing with the very strong international team. For example, UC Berkeley, Toronto, University of Toronto, and also the top university in China. And so far, our team has been very consistently come up with top 3, and for I think at least more than twice now, we are the top number 1, and some other competition as well. So again, you see that we create opportunity, not just train our students to be practitioner of data science. We also sharpen their skill, get them to compete with people within the school, within the university as well, outside the university, so that they know where they are. There's another event which we do it once a year. Again, it's a very, very important event. This is what we call symposium, whereby we showcase our students' projects. I mentioned about the Capstone project, right? Which is done by the student when they spend. I didn't mention this early on. My apology. The student will spend about 3 to 5 months with the partner companies, and they will do the project. Once they've done the project, we will showcase what they have done. A couple of reasons for doing that. Apart from getting them to put their best foot forward, it's also a way for us to recognize their effort. But more importantly, we want to show their work to their future employers. So we typically invite participants from the industry. This year, we saw 700 attendees from all over the industry. And also we have a team of industrial practitioners working as judges to pick the top projects. And typically we will give out award for up to top five projects. Sometimes we give more depending on how close the competition is. Okay. Again, this is another opportunity that we created for our students to be connected to the industry. There was a situation whereby we noticed this is cases happen before the COVID-19 where we had this in the hall. The industrial representative came in, saw the projects, talked with the student, and then offered the student the job to work for them. So this happens. Now, just a quick word on our alumni. As I mentioned, we've been running this program for quite a while, and our alumni community is actually growing. Now it's more than 500 of them, all over, almost close to 30 countries, 30 nationalities. And many of them are doing very well, and we are very proud of them. This is just one example. Zhang Yiren, who is one of our students, probably one of the very first full professor in the university after he graduated from our program. And then we have Abhishek Kai Xiang, who were in EY, Ernst & Young. In fact, Abhishek moved on after that. And they also was recognized to be one of the best team to come up with a project, to execute a project. And we also have Ravi Sahil, who has been in J&J after they left us. And again, he took part in the internal competition and emerged very successfully. And we also have a student, Shivan, who became a Kaggle Grandmaster. I don't know whether you are into all this coding and so on. If you are into coding and do competition in the open, you're probably familiar with Kaggle. And he became a Grandmaster when he was with us in 2019. And Newton is now studying PhD in the university. So these are just some examples of the students that we are proud of. We are proud of all of them actually. And we have a record of seeing our students get hired very quickly in the industry after they graduate. I would do once a year alumni survey, and this survey include how soon our student get hired, and I typically look at it in 3 months and 6 months. And 6 months, within 6 months, all the students will be hired. That's been very consistent. And the challenge is within 3 months. And I must say that we're also very proud of that. Within 3 months, 2 years ago, we saw 92% of our students get hired. And this is, of course, depending on the sample size, depending on people who responded to us. And those people who responded to us, this is a percentage that we are looking at. And ever since we are affected by the COVID-19, the employment rate of within 3 months kind of dropped a little bit, but it's still very high. It's higher than 80%. Okay, so this is a testimonial of our student. Question on the application. The application for next semester, next academic year has opened. It was on the 11th of October, and it will end on the 31st of January 2022. Okay, you might ask, what do we look for in the student? First of all, I must mention that we don't have a cutoff for all the measurement that we have. We have a very holistic approach in looking at students. But by and large, what we hope to see in students is you must have a good bachelor degree in business, in computing, in engineering, in econs, in mathematics, and so on. So if you're not sure whether your background fulfill all this, just maybe submit your or give us a call, ask us, then we'll let you know. Okay. So if you have first degree on all those subjects and you have a good honors, come apply. Right. Okay. We typically look at both fresh graduate and people working experience. Right. Now, if you are fresh graduate without 2 years of relevant working experience, don't give up. Don't give up. Maybe let us know or submit your application. We'll look at your application individually. The other thing is, if you are not a graduate from Singapore University like NUS, NTU, SMU, and SUTD, you will have to take GRE or GMAT. Okay. And try to get a good score for that. Again, we don't have the minimum cutoff. We look at your application holistically. The other thing which is very important is you must have relatively good maths foundation. And when we talk about maths foundation, we are talking about statistics, calculus, and linear algebra. So if you have done all this, especially at the tertiary level, that will be good. If not, you still have to maybe check with us, okay, to make sure that you have this foundation. But typically, if you want to revise what you have learned with maths, there are many ways they can do it. There are many online courses that you can actually go and find out what are the maths subjects that maths topics that you need to brush up in preparing for a course like us. And the other thing which is very important, we hope that you have some programming skill. If you have Python programming skill, that will be perfect. Okay? But if you don't have, chances is if you have other programming skill, it's quite easy for you to pick up Python. I always advise people who want to apply to this course, all you need to do is spend an hour for 30 days, right? That's assuming that you have some programming background. 1 hour, 30 days, you'll be okay. You will learn the skill, right? And what you can see over there is the application fee as well as the school fees. For Singaporean and PR, 53,000, and for international student, 58,000, right? And there's a QR code there for you to look at the checklist. Now, you might want to ask, is there any help with the school fees? We have scholarships. In fact, we have private scholarship in the past. These two scholarships that I listed here, they are scholarship from our center. Right? We look for students who are good with their academic result, and we have two kinds of scholarship: the merit scholarship and global scholarship. With slightly different kind of focus. For merit scholarship, we, apart from good result, we want the student, we hope the student can be a leader, right? In the industry that profession that he choose to work with. Global scholarship, we are looking for candidates who has aspiration to make an impact in the community, either community of where he came from, where he comes from, or she come from, or a professional community that he or she is aspire to work with. Okay, and you need not apply for it. Actually, we select. We look at all the applications, then we select. Okay. For Singaporean, I must mention this. There are many government scholarships that you can apply. If you are working in the MOH, the MOH scholarship, there's IMDA scholarship, And there are many companies in Singapore that offer study award or study scholarship to students that from Singapore, and that company sponsorship also open to non-Singaporean. So if you're PR in Singapore, or if you're foreign worker, foreign professional working in Singapore, Singapore company, you likely to be eligible for that as well. So there are many opportunities for you to explore as far as scholarship is concerned. Now, a little bit information on the duration and so on. Our course is offered both in full-time and part-time. For full-time is 13 months, 12 plus 1 month. And for part-time is 24 months plus 1 month, so it's 25 months. And the candidature for full-time, you can stretch to 2 years, but not more than that, unless you have special reason for applying for leave of absence and so on. And part-time maximum candidature is 4 academic years. Okay. All right, and there's a QR code there for you to scan to apply. I more or less cover all I need to cover. Understand that you might have questions that has not been answered during my presentation. Do feel free to ask them. I have my colleagues with me. I have Professor Khoo with me, who we will answer as many questions as we can. Thank you. Benjamin, take it away then.
Sure. Thank you very much, Prof. Quek, for sharing valuable insights and information about the MSBA program. We will now move on to the Q&A segment, where we open the floor to questions, and you, the audience, decide what needs to be addressed. At this time, please also allow me to welcome Associate Professor Khoo Xiao Cheng, Co-Director of the NUS Business Analytics Center, along with Christy and Kana from the BAC team. Prof. Khoo, Christy, and Kana will all join Prof. Quek as esteemed panelists for the Q&A segment and take on questions posted by our audience today. So please keep your questions coming. All right, NUS team, let's have the first question for the day, shall we? Okay, here it goes. For part-time students who are not able to carry out their capstone project with their employers, will the school assist in the sourcing and allocation of an appropriate project? Yes, so perhaps I'll pass this question to Prof. Quek.
Good question, thank you. We encourage part-time students to do capstone project with their company as much as they can. If that is not possible, then we will help them to match up with the other projects from another company. Typically, there's something that we have to deal with over here. We have to make sure that there's no conflict of interest. We have to make sure that the company that you work for, they understand that you currently work for another company, and they have to be convinced that there's no conflict of interest. Okay, so it's possible. Quick answer to that. And all our students will be matched with capstone project 1-to-1. So far, we have been very successful in ensuring 100% placement.
Great. Thank you, Prof. Quek. So yeah, for your answer and your advice. Yeah, so I mean, to the inquirer that posted this question, just be assured that NUS will try their best to help you in this aspect. Next question, please. If you do not have any programming knowledge, will there be any additional material that you can study before the school starts?
Let me try to answer that.
So thank you, Prof. Khoo.
Yeah, actually, what you need to know is Python programming. Actually, before you joined us, we have a boot camp for all the students. There's 2 weeks of boot camp before the term starts. And during the boot camp, we'll try to refresh you of a memory of everything, statistics, economics, also programming. If you do not know any programming, we actually teach Python programming during the 2 weeks of boot camp. But certainly that is not enough. As Prof. Quek just now mentioned, programming is a very important element in business analytics. So if possible, try to learn more before you join us. Learn more about programming from some online courses. I think my colleague Christy has put up a link there in the Q&A session. You can take a look at that. Actually, the links to our website in which we give you some further resources in which you can pick up some knowledge before you join us.
Thank you, Prof. Khoo, for sharing about the bootcamp as well as the links for the appropriate online resources. So yeah, next question, please. I noticed that 2 years of work experience is required for applicants to this program. Can fresh graduates with internship experience only apply?
A quick answer to that is yes, you can. But we will look at you or we'll discuss with you when you apply to make sure that you are ready for this course. Typically, what we look for are the students who have done very well academically, and the internship also relevant in certain sense. Okay. Any of my colleagues want to supplement that?
Maybe I just add into here a little bit. So we do take in fresh grad if you are very good in a particular field. So we do take in fresh grad, but majority of students have some working experience. So if you are fresh grad and you want to join us, bear in mind that you have a lot of cohorts or classmates all with working experience. So you should yourself should try to be able to at least get yourself exposed to some analytics related project or whatever to make sure you can actually cope up with this kind of work studying environment. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Quek and Prof. Khoo. Okay, how does NUS select the projects and how will we be assessed for the capstone project itself? Is it by the industry players or by professors from NUS?
Okay, maybe let me take that. The process is actually very structured. Like I mentioned earlier on that we invite the companies to come in to do a seminar and to talk about how they deploy data science solving business problems. This is first step. So the student will get an idea of not just industry of their focus, but also industry across the board, how data science is being deployed in solving business problem. This is, first of all, the first step that we want the student to have a very good perspective, not silo, but very good perspective of generally over the industry, how things are being done. Okay. So this is the first step, preparing the student. Now, towards the beginning of the year, that's where the cycle will start in matching the student with the project. We will have the companies submit the projects that they want the student to consider. We have a simple template that the companies will fill it out, and the professors will assess those projects to make sure that they have sufficient data science element in it. Because all the projects are graded, right? So in order to be graded, there must be sufficient data science element in it. That means that student must have an opportunity to identify method or model or the algorithm that they can choose and do comparison before they come up with the for example model for prediction, right? So there must be sufficient element in it. The projects are graded and is graded by the professors. We have the professors assigned to each student as an academic supervisor. Of course, the company will assign company supervisor as well. So typically they work together, but when we come to grading, the professors will get input from the company and do the grading in-house. And the project itself is not the only thing that we grade the student when it comes to, when it's considered the Capstone project module. Of course, there are, I mentioned about the competition that the student take part. That in a way also kind of been observed and graded. And also class participation, because for Capstone module we also have lectures. We also have lessons that we conduct. And for example, blockchain. Blockchain is one of the topics that we cover during the Capstone project module. And there are projects, mini projects being done, and some of this will be graded as well. So all this different things will be put together and come up with the final grade for the student when it comes to Capstone module, project module. Now, what else? Okay. Anyway, the matching of student and the project is actually quite complicated. But let me simplify it and share with you. When the project from the companies is being submitted to the school and we are okay with it, we will actually announce it to the students. Hopefully, when they announce to the student, all the students will have some idea which one they want to go for. So if they're interested, they will apply for it. And the way they apply for it is using their CV. And then I normally encourage the student to maybe write a cover letter, just like you apply for a job, to highlight some of the skill set that you have that can match what is needed for the Capstone project from the company's project. And if the company is happy with these applicants, they will select and do the interview. Okay. However, not every student will get what they apply. So some of the students might have to go through a few rounds. Okay. Again, this is another opportunity that we create for the student to practice how to apply for a project, in a way apply for a job. All right. If there are students that couldn't get it a few rounds, we will take the opportunity to work with the student to see what's wrong. Is it something that you write in your CV? Is it something that during the interview you couldn't articulate? Right. So again, this process is another learning process for the students. Okay. So I want to go back to the point I mentioned earlier on. For Capstone project module, it is a process. And the Capstone project is the end where the student have to complete the project. Okay. But the learning process starts from beginning.
Thank you very much, Prof. Quek, for your answer, as well as the detailed explanation of the Capstone project module. Shall we have the next question? All right. I am curious about what kind of company or job is suitable for students who have finished this MSBA program. Where did the students go after they have graduated from this program?
Any of my colleagues want to take this?
I'll let you do it. You are good.
Okay. We do survey. We do survey on our alumni and see where they go. Okay. Majority of them stay in Singapore. So some of them will go back. So we talk about companies. Of course, there are companies in Singapore. There are companies overseas. Let's just take companies in Singapore. As you know, that data science is one of the, I will put it now, a horizontal skill. Used to be a vertical skill whereby you specialize in it, and then you concentrate on one industry. But nowadays, no more. Data science is applied in all sorts of industry. So we kind of mimic that, reflect that in our semester 2 when we allow the student to select the industry. So many of our students actually end up in finance, because this is one of the big employer in Singapore, right? If you go to DBS, if you go to insurance company like AXA, if you were to go to some of the investment company like the New York Bank, right? You will see our students, our alumni working for them. And then the other big categories are the e-commerce company, marketing company, right? So companies like Shopee, companies like Alibaba, companies like Grab. Grab actually have quite a community of graduates from our program. And of course, NTUC also have the particular branch that look after the consumer behavior and so on and so on. So any company that deals with consumer behavior analysis will have our students. Okay? Of course, we also have students that work in supply chain companies. Right? For example, Y3. Y3 is one of the technical arm of the YCH. YCH is one of the largest supply chain company in Singapore. They have a supply chain city in Tuas. They also have our students. So in the simple form of answering your question is, you'll find our graduates working in almost all different industries, including healthcare. In fact, we have a medical doctor who are currently studying with us. She's going to take all this skill set back to MOH. So maybe next time when you have a situation like COVID-19, data science will be implemented a little bit more than what they have done now. Okay. So I hope I answered your question. If not, please ask again.
Certainly. Thank you, Prof. Quek, once again for shedding light on this very commonly asked question and concern among students. Yeah, so next question, please. Okay. Is GRE or GMAT strictly mandatory? Can I submit an application without the GRE or GMAT scores?
As Prof. Quek has already mentioned, GMAT or GRE is strictly mandatory, right? Unless you are graduated from NUS, NTU, SUTD, or SMU. Yeah, so that is mandatory.
Thank you, Prof. Khoo, for the answer. Short and sweet. So next question, please. Is the admission process on a rolling basis? And will there be any technical questions during the interview?
Let me try to answer this. So admission, yes, is on a rolling basis, but we have a deadline that is January the 31st, right, 2022. So by then, hopefully you have applied already, and then we will start interviewing the students, the applicants, and then once we reach our quota, I think we'll stop. So although it's rolling, but it's better for you to apply early. Okay. Will there be any technical question during the interview? It depends on the interviewer. So there is no standard set of questions to be asked by the interviewer. So there may be technical question, there may not be.
If I may supplement Prof. Khoo's answer. Typically, questions that we ask kind of group into 3 or 4 groups. So we look at the EQ, we look at IQ. So this technical question, some of this technical question may come in under the IQ. And then we also look at AQ. So that a little bit on leadership and so on. But one thing we also look at is what we call generally X factor. X factor. For example, if you represent Singapore in certain sport, right? There's something that we also look at, because that kind of tell us that you might have that quality, your perseverance, for example, your persistent, whatever related to make you successful as a athlete, maybe something that we also look at. So it's holistic. And if you think that you have some quality that you want to, it's unique to you, I mean, unique to many people, which is only you have, do share that with us. Okay. So like I mentioned, we look at applicants holistically.
Great. Thank you, Prof. Khoo and Prof. Quek. So I guess the key point here, please submit your applications early and then try to ace your interviews. Yep. Next question, please. Okay, very important and interesting question in my opinion. So since this is a multi-school program, is every course structured in both business and computing way, or is it more like half curriculum in computing and half of the curriculum in business?
This is a very interesting question. Yeah, certainly the course, I would say that all the courses are trying to be structured in a way that is integration between business and technical skill. So it's not about half business or half computing, Right, so we have, as Prof. Pat has mentioned, we have some essential courses that you have to go through. These essential courses are structured in a way that is both containing both technical skill as well as business skills. And then after that, after you've completed the essential modules, you go for elective modules. And in the elective modules, some of the courses are very, very technical because they are from computing, or some of the technical courses are very, very business-like. But there are also other courses that is a combination of business and computing. So because it's elective, it's up to you how you want to choose. How do you want to train yourself to be expert, or to be expert in a particular field? That's up to you. So yeah, I will have to emphasize that the courses are structured and designed for the purpose of this program, and they are therefore is integrated between business and computing, and of course the other things like statistics or these things. Okay, Prof. Quite, you want to add something else?
Perhaps just to mention that the objective of this course is practical oriented, and by that we want our students to learn all this hard science in a way to solve business problems. Okay, so there will be courses like what Prof. Khoo say is a combination of both, and there are also courses which is very technical. It's course very business oriented. Again, that is addressing our objective of nurturing a spectrum of students. That one end can be a hardcore coder, right, and the other end can be business consultant or business leader who are data savvy. So therefore, we have to offer combination of courses to allow that to happen.
Yes, I also like to add in something else. I think Prof. Pratt has already mentioned that during his presentation. That is, we emphasize also a lot on the soft skills side. So this capstone project module that we introduced, which is a one-year module, right? We really try to integrate technical skills, business skills, and all the other kinds of business acumen into the program, so that to make sure that you are trained from that. I think this is a very unique feature for the MSBA program. So it's not like a program that as master, just like any other master program in which you come in to take courses, and at the end you do an internship and that's all. No. We ask you to participate. We ask you to collaborate with other people. We ask you to come in to share your knowledge with other people. It's important that you build this network. And this is the very special and very unique feature for this program. Thank you.
Very importantly, you will have fun. I can promise you have fun, because all this learning process actually, it can be fun if you have a team of people who have the same aspiration like you, who work as hard as you. Okay, maybe just let me mention about I'll go back to the point when I talk about the symposium. Again, that symposium is a avenue for us to allow the student to train. This is about the soft skill. Train how to present their solution within 7 minutes. It's almost like it's not an elevator pitch. It's slightly longer, but it's 7 minutes. And within 7 minutes, you have to present all the key points of your solution in a language that people can understand, right? So there will be industrial judges, which I mentioned earlier on. They will go around and listen to all the presentation. And many of these industrial judges might not have that silo kind of a skill set that student is focusing on. But the student will have to learn how to present the solution in a way that anybody who is not in the same silo will be able to understand. Just like what Einstein said, if you cannot explain to 5 years old the theory that you learn, you don't know it enough. Okay. So again, maybe it's the extreme example. What I'm trying to point out is the whole process, learning process, can be fun, and it provides you opportunity to really discover your strength, your weaknesses, and so on.
Great, great. Thank you, Prof. Khoo and Prof. Quek, for your explanation of the program's curriculum. So a quick time check, is now close to 9:30 p.m. So perhaps let's take the last two questions for the day. Okay, what time are the classes normally held? Are there differentiated timing for the full-time and the part-time students?
Yes, let me try to answer this. And for part-time students, the classes are normally held in the evening. For the full-time students, the classes can be held in the evening together with a part-time student, or it can be held in the daytime. So we do have separate classes for part-time and full-time, although some of the full-time students may join part-time during the evening classes. Yeah, and then the full-time students, you normally takes about 5 modules. And for part-time student, you take about 2 modules. Yeah, you take about 2 modules. Okay, but you have to take also the capstone project modules in addition to the 2 modules, right? But that one you also take the capstone project, capstone project module. You also take it part-time, in the sense that your pace of study will be half the load of the full-time students.
Certainly. Thank you, Prof. Khoo, for your detailed answer. I'm sure this is a very important consideration for both group of students. So let's have the last question for the day. I noticed that TOEFL and IELTS scores are not required for this program. So does this apply to all applicants, including those whose native tongue and medium of university instruction is not English?
Yes, it is. Sorry, yes, this applies to all applicants, that's right. Don't forget we have an interview, a verbal interview with the students, so applicants. So even though if you don't have your native tongue or medium or university is not English, if we can understand what you are saying during the interview, I think that's pretty good. We also require you to do GMAT and GRE, and there's also a verbal portion of GMAT and GRE. So I think we are all set, right? If you can pass through our interviews, pass through our selection, then you should be good in your English speaking in the course.
Thank you very much, Prof. Khoo, for your answer and assurance. So international students, do take note of this component. Okay, so with that last question, we have come to the end of the Q&A segment. Thank you very much, Prof. Quek, Prof. Khoo, Christy, and Kana for helping to address the wide-ranging concerns of our audience today. Yeah, and to the audience, of course, I hope that we have managed to answer your questions and clarify your doubts. And for those of you who have further questions, feel free to reach out to us at pgc@nus.edu.sg or give us a follow on our various social media platforms. Remember, applications for the MSBA program is currently open all the way until the 31st of January, 2022. And while we're on the topic of applications, for the benefit of our international audience today, we will spend the next couple of minutes watching a video that will walk you through the entire application process. So international students, you might want to stay on a little longer. To everyone else, thank you so much for joining us today and for being such a wonderful audience. It was a pleasure being your host, and I certainly hope that this session has been helpful and informative to you. On behalf of the entire NUS team, please continue to stay safe, stay positive, and never stop learning. Good night, everyone, and see you at NUS soon.
Has COVID-19 disrupted your overseas study plans? Don't let it get in the way of your dreams. Pursue a prestigious master's degree with the National University of Singapore. Ranked number 1 in Asia and 11th in the world by the QS World University Rankings. Start your journey now. Step 1. Log on to the link below to find out about the different programs that we offer. Step 2. Apply to NUS by submitting your application online via this link. Step 3. NUS will send you a letter of offer when your application is successful. Step 4. If you decide to accept the offer, make your acceptance fee payment online before the stipulated deadline. Step 5. You need to then declare your travel plans on the NUS Overseas Travel Declaration System due to the COVID-19 situation. Step 6. You will need to apply for a student visa. To find out more about this, go to the Singapore Immigration and Checkpoints Authority website. Please refer to the following link. Step 7. Before enrolling, you need to complete your pre-admission medical examination. More information can be found on the following link. Step 8. You can now make arrangements for accommodation and medical insurance. There are many options to stay on campus, or you can opt for off-campus housing. NUS will help all full-time students subscribe to the university's medical insurance scheme. Step 9. You can now book a flight ticket. 3 days before arriving in Singapore, you will need to submit your arrival information and health declaration online. Please refer to the following link. We look forward to seeing you in Singapore and NUS.